Good morning. Live with Tao. Ego is unreal because you are not isolated. You are one with reality. You exist as organic part of the existence. You cannot exist separate from it. If separated, you cannot live even for a single moment. Every breath, with every breath, you are bridged with cosmos, with the trees, with all that is around. Every moment you are moving in and out, meeting the real and coming back. It's like every moment you go to your bedroom and you come out. You are not a dead entity. You are pulsating in deep harmony with that which is real. But you have forgotten that you are pulse of the cosmos. You have created a dead ego, a concept that I am. And this I am is always against the whole. It defends itself, struggling in conflict, in war. Hence, the emphasis of all the religions is to dissolve this ego, this egocentric identity. So the first thing is that which is unreal can be dissolved. That which is real cannot be dissolved or disappears. How can you dissolve it? If something is real, it cannot be destroyed. It will remain. Its form may change, but it will remain whatsoever you do. Water is real. It may remain as ice, it may remain as a fluid, it may remain as vapors. It is something, and when vapors condense, it becomes water again. And when water evaporates, it becomes vapor again. Its form changes. That which is real, its form changes and nothing else can be destroyed. It will remain. And it will remain whatsoever you do. Only the unreal things can be dissolved. They can disappear. They can simply evaporate into nowhere, into nothingness. Your ego can dissolve because it is unreal. It is just a thought, a notion. It has no substance in it. Secondly, you cannot even carry ego continuously for 24 hours. It is so unreal that you have to constantly fuel it. When you are asleep, the ego is not there. When you are asleep, the ego is not there. That is why in the morning you feel fresh, because you have been in a deep contact with that which is real. The reality has rejuvenated you, revitalized you. That's why you are feeling fresh in the morning. During the day, in your waking state, you are completely under the grip of ego. So you remain exhausted by the evening. In deep sleep, your ego is not there. Your name, your form, all have dissolved. You do not know who you are, educated or uneducated, poor or rich, sinner or virtuous. You don't know. In deep sleep, you have fallen back into the cosmic whole. The ego is not there. In the morning, you feel vitalized, fresh, and young. Energy has come to you from some deep source. You are alive again. You are alive again. And if in the night there are dreams and dreams and dreams, in the morning you will feel tired because in the dreams the ego continues to exist. So you feel tired. In the dreams the ego persists. It is there. It is not allowing you to go into the original source. It is the experience of the awakened one that every night for a few seconds you fall into deep sleep, and in deep sleep you are connected to the cosmic womb, and that revitalizes and makes you alive once again. You may be waking whole night, but the moment you take a deep sleep, you are fresh again. And that moment when you fall in deep sleep varies from person to person. It is between 2 to 4 in the morning. During that period, maybe 3 to 4 seconds or minutes, you fall into the cosmic womb that nourishes and nurtures you once again. In deep sleep, ego is not there. When you are in deep love, the ego is not there. Ego is there only when you are pretending to be loving. When you are relaxed, silent, again ego is not there. When you are absorbed in something so totally that you have forgotten your own existence, ego is not there. Listening to music, you have forgotten who you are, and ego is not there. And really, the peace that comes to you is not coming through the music. The peace that you feel good is not coming through the music. Music has become a catalyst. It has created a situation around you that you have forgotten your ego completely. So music is instrumental. It is catalyst. My talk takes you as to a situation when for some time the ego vanishes and you feel refreshed. Looking at a beautiful sunrise or sunset or a flower, you forget yourself. Then suddenly you feel that something has happened to you. It is not that sunrise is doing to you. In the sunrise has become a catalyst in whose presence something is happening. In the presence of the heat from the stove, something begins to happen to the water. It changes its form and becomes vapors. You are not there, something greater than you has taken over you. This presence of the great, or whatsoever is happening in that moment. When in the presence of heat, water changes its quality, its nature. In the presence of an awakened one, something begins to change in you. In the presence of manganese dioxide, the hydrogen and oxygen ions change their in nature. Jesus calls this presence as God. That word is just symbolic. Holy Prophet also calls it God. That word is just symbolic. God means something. God does not mean a person sitting somewhere. It means something greater than you. A moment when you feel that something greater than you is happening to you, that moment God is happening to you. And you can feel this only when you are not. Only when you are not. While you are there, the greater cannot happen to you because you are the barrier. A moment when you feel that something greater is happening to you, greater than you, something greater than you is happening, over which you have no control. That very moment, God is happening to you. And this is symbolic. So never take God as a presence, as a person sitting somewhere. That is childlike understanding. A moment, a situation when something beyond your control, greater than you, is happening, God is happening to you. You are looking for a situation to be handled. You find that it is not within your capabilities, but suddenly you find it is happening through you. That moment, God is happening through you. That greater moment. An awakened one every moment feels that things happen. This is what we call as mysteriously. Things happen mysteriously on a moment to moment basis. And that situation we call God loving person. You need not in any moment, if you are absent, God is there. Your absence is the presence of the divine. Kabir says, जब मैं था तब हरि ना आए, जब हरि है तब मैं ना आए. The two cannot exist together. When I was, my egocentric identities existing, God was not. When God is, all the egocentric identities have dissolved. Remember it always. Your absence is the presence of the divine. Your absence is the presence of the divine. Someone has said, हार के हिम्मत थक जाते हैं जब अहले दबल अपनी कोशिश में. हार के हिम्मत थक जाते हैं जब अहले दबल अपनी कोशिश में. दुआ उस वक्त नादारों की मकबूल असर होती है. दुआ नादारों की मकबूल असर होती है. When you have all your efforts have failed, you are incapable. That very moment, the blessings as prayer come to you and happens to you. दुआ नादारों की उस वक्त मकबूल असर हो जाती है, becomes effective. Your presence is the absence of the divine. So really the question is not how to reach God. The question is how to attain God. The question is how to be absent yourself. You need not worry about the divine. You can forget it completely. You try to think that by connecting to God, you will be better. No. Dissolving your egocentric identity is important. There is no need to remember even the word God. It is irrelevant. Because the basic thing is not God, the basic thing is your ego. If it is not there, God happens to you. Miracle happens to you. You do not need to make any effort searching the God and maintaining your egocentric identity. Go with this side. Let the egocentric identities dissolve. God will happen to you. Because the whole effort may be and should be ego-centered. God is not happening because you have made God. Your effort is God-centric. And that's where the biggest problem is. That is the problem for the spiritual seekers. It may be just ego which is thinking to attain to God. You cannot be satisfied by your worldly successes you have achieved in the outer world. You have reached a certain status, a certain position, a prestige. You are powerful, you are rich, knowledgeable, respected, but with all these things, ego is still not satisfied. The hunger of ego is false. It can never be satisfied. Whatsoever you do will prove to be futile, because hunger is false. No food can satisfy it. If the hunger is real, it can be satisfied. All natural hungers can be satisfied. It is nothing. There is no problem in it. But unnatural hungers can never be satisfied. In the first place, they are not hungers. And if they are not hungers, how can you satisfy it? And they are unreal. Just emptiness exists there. When you are missing love in your life, or you have not experienced the totality of love, in that very moment there comes an emptiness within you. And you feel that there is emptiness. You do not know what is the nature of this emptiness. Instead, you feel that you are hungry, so you go on stuffing yourself with food. The more you eat, you are never satisfied. And that is the point when love fails in your life, you start putting on weight. Because love creates an emptiness. The absence of love creates an emptiness. And you feel hungry. But that hunger is false. It is because of the absence of love in your life. When love happens to you really, your experience is deep within, then you don't need to worry about. In the first place, and they are unreal. Just emptiness is there. You go on throwing food. You are throwing food into the in an abyss, a bottomless abyss. That is your stomach has become. You will not reach anywhere. The ego can never be satisfied. I have heard that when Alexander was coming to India, someone told him, "Have you ever meditated upon the fact that there is only one world, and if you win, then what will you do?" And it is reported that upon hearing this, Alexander was very sad, and he said, "I have not thought about it, but it certainly makes me very sad. Really, there is only one world, and I am going to win it. And when I have won it, I do not know what am I going to do then. Even this whole world, you get everything's imaginable. It cannot quench your thirst, because the thirst is false. It is there because of the absence of the taste of love in your life. The hunger is not natural. The ego can go in search of God. In almost 99% cases, 99 out of 100, this has been my feeling, that ego is in search. And then but ego does not see that it is the barrier. It is the barrier trying to reach the godliness, trying to realize God. But ego cannot. And then search is bound to be doomed from the very beginning, because ego cannot meet the divine. In the absence of ego, divine happens. But as Kabir said, when I was, God was not. I and God cannot exist together. Absence of I-ness is the presence of God. The absence of I-ness. If I is going to search God, it will never find, because the two will not meet. It's that darkness is going to search for the light. Can darkness and search and light meet one another? Absence of darkness is light, and absence of light is darkness. Darkness cannot go in search of light. Falsehood cannot go in search of truth. Absence of falsehood is truth. Can head go and search for the tail? Head and tail are the part of one reality. Absence of head, you turn around, you are facing the tail, and vice versa. This is the question only of awareness. Be perfectly, totally aware in that moment, and that this moment of awareness is the moment of meditation, prayer, worship. But as such as you are, your prayer, your meditation, your worship are all egocentric, ego trip. You are unnecessarily wasting your time. Be perfectly aware. And it is not a question, and it is only a question of awareness. If you are aware, you can find out how your ego moves and works. It is not difficult. No particular training is needed for that. You can close your eyes and you can see what this search is. You can ask the question whether you are really seeking the divine or whether you are just on an ego trip. This is awareness. Because the going on, whether it is again the ego trip, and this ego trip that you are going in search of God is respectable. Because the people think that you are religious. Everybody will think that you are a religious person, because deep down you think, how can I be satisfied unless I possess God? Is God going to be your possession? The Upanishads say one who says that he has achieved God has not achieved. Because the very assertion that I have achieved God is nothing else but the assertion of ego. The Upanishads say that one who claims that he has known does not know. The very claim shows that he has not known, because the claim that I have known comes from nowhere else but your egocentric identity, that I know this, I know that. Even I have heard some of the so-called saints, they claim that they know this, and all these things. The claim that I have known comes from ego, and the ego cannot know. It is the only barrier. Enough for now. Tomorrow I will go into the technique. Feel me, the thought, I-ness, intellect, internal organs, etc. Until then, take care and do have a pleasant day.